Okay, we are going to have Robin Mann first talk. She's the vice president. Okay, she's the vice president of the National Sierra Club, and will briefly state the position of the club on shale drilling. Robin.
Thanks very much, Mark. Can you hear me in the back? I appreciate louder. Okay. I just wanted to give you a few comments initially on behalf of the Sierra Club about this whole issue, because there's been a fair amount of coverage of the Sierra Club's involvement with this issue, and I want to be clear, particularly to our members. Going back to 2006, Sierra Club looked at the need to dramatically ramp up our efforts to get off of the dirtiest fossil fuels and move towards a clean energy economy. And we recognize that in order to aggressively move away from the dirtiest fuels, which we consider to be coal and oil and nuclear power, we needed to transition into efficiency and renewables as rapidly as possible, but we wouldn't be able to transition fast enough to bring our greenhouse gas emission reductions down quickly enough without some transitional reliance on fuels such as natural gas and clean biofuels to the extent they could be developed. And so the recognition was that on a transitional basis, as we shut coal plants down or shifted away from the use of coal, there was going to be a need to rely on natural gas on a transitional basis. With the onset of hydraulic fracture technology, the recognition was that we needed to revisit that characterization to make sure that we were comfortable with looking at natural gas as acceptable if it would come from hydraulic fracture technology. And so we went through a policy development process that was just completed in the fall, and what we recognized is there were serious concerns about hydraulic fracture gas if it wasn't properly produced. And so the policy that was developed was recognizing that while we want to be able to accept responsibly produced and cleanly produced natural gas from hydraulic fracture, that was going to need to involve strengthening our regulatory programs in order to make that possible. The analysis went into looking at what the energy market looked like, and we recognized that, or the policy task force that made this recommendation to the board recognized that unless we were going to be trying to ensure that hydraulic fracture gas could be produced acceptably, that is cleanly, we were going to actually be creating space for worse fuel sources. Of particular concern were coal bed methane and tar sands oil. And so where the Sierra Club came out was looking at the overall energy picture. As we developed this hydraulic fracture policy, we recognized that the particular concerns were the frac fluids themselves, which have received a lot of press, but also the produced water, which is actually a much larger volume and a much more serious concern in terms of the potential impacts of the environment. Also considerations of siting, and in addition, air quality standards. Those are air standards, and meeting air standards and protecting air quality. So I won't go into the specifics of our policy, but you can look at our policy on our website, and basically it says that hydraulic fracture gas is acceptable as a transitional fuel. That means we don't want to see it around forever. We want to use it until we can actually shift away from it to clean energy altogether and efficiency altogether. But that it's acceptable if it is produced cleanly. So that's our position. One other thing, I mean, the press has had some of my best friends are in the press, so they, to an extent, the story, the position has been to try and demonstrate a divide within our ranks internally between our national lobbying on the federal energy policy and what our chapter activists are doing. And the divide is much less dramatic than has been written up in the press. We're working together, we're developing, we've got a task force in place that is developing model regulations in collaboration with other organizations. We've worked closely with Clean Water Action to do work in Pennsylvania. So we are, we're ramping up to try and get the kind of adequate standards that aren't in place now. And that's an important point, is that basically we haven't had, we've been dealing with a situation where the industry was benefiting from tremendous, from exemptions that were not holding them to the high standards they need to be held to. So I just wanted to provide that clarification for our members, and I look forward to the program. Thank you.